For almost 3 years, Michael, believed I had my future neatly planned. My life revolved around Alice, a woman unlike anyone I'd ever encountered. Her intellect was sharp, always anticipating the next step, and her humor could slice through any dialogue with ease. We met at a technology summit in Denver. She was handling public relations for a bold up-and-coming company. While I was immersed in the intricate world of cybersecurity, I respected her directness. She valued my calm in the face of disorder. Though we weren't perfect, our connection felt solid. Together, we built a life that appeared idyllic to outsiders. A cozy apartment, stable jobs, regular date nights, spontaneous weekend trips, and gatherings where friends toasted us as if we were the ideal pair. Yet beneath this polished surface, cracks were silently forming. Alice had a habit of dodging questions about her past. Mention her former partner, Jonah, and she'd shut down, flashing a coy smile. "He's long gone," she'd say, flicking her wrist as if swatting away an annoyance. I chose not to push, perhaps my first misstep. Warning signs appeared. Late nights she attributed to work, returning home with the subtle scent of cocktails and expensive fragrance lingering on her. I dismissed my doubts, unwilling to become the distrustful partner who scrutinized her every action. We even enjoyed double dates with friends like Jason and Leah, filled with laughter and shared stories. Jason would raise his glass to the perfect couple, and I'd join in, suppressing the unease that simmered within me. Then, unexpectedly, Alice suggested a trip to Portugal. "We're burning out," she said. "Let's escape for a while." It seemed like the ideal remedy for our unspoken strains. That evening, I secured our flights, hoping this could mend what was fraying. When we landed in Lisbon, it felt like entering a vibrant painting, cobblestone lanes, the rich scent of roasted chestnuts, and music echoing from every corner. Alice was radiant, more alive than I'd seen in months. She led me through secret pathways, her camera snapping constantly, preserving every second. We rode the city's famous yellow trams, relished fresh seafood by the river, and stayed up late, sharing wine and rediscovering our lost spark. For a brief moment, I believed our issues had dissolved, but the mirage soon faded. A few days into our adventure, we sat at a charming cafe near Alama, sipping coffee when her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, a secretive smile crossing her face, and typed a quick reply. "Work?" I asked, keeping my voice neutral. "Yeah," she said, placing her phone face down. Later, as we prepared for a concert, I caught her texting again, half-dressed in front of the mirror, tilting her phone away from me. "Who's that?" I asked, aiming for nonchalance. She laughed a bit too light, too practiced. "Don't go all jealous, Michael. Just work." Yet her eyes kept flicking to her phone during the evening, stealing glances as if it held a precious secret. That night, as she slept clutching her phone, I lay awake, my instincts roaring, though I wasn't ready to confront the reality. The next morning, Alice was up early, brushing her hair and humming softly, acting as if all was well. "I'm off to the art district," she declared. "You should rest. You look exhausted." "Want company?" I asked, studying her closely. She chuckled. "You hate galleries. I'll be quick." She kissed my forehead, treating me like a weary child, and left. The moment the door shut, I grabbed my phone. Before the trip, Alice had convinced me to use a location-sharing app for safety. Now, I opened it and saw her dot moving not toward the art district, but to the waterfront. I paused briefly before slipping on my shoes and following. The tram ride was agonizing, each lurch amplifying my dread. When I neared her location, I ducked into a gift shop and checked the app again. She'd stopped at a small cafe by the docks. I crossed the street, staying out of sight, and spotted her instantly. She sat outside, leaning toward a man with weathered blonde hair and a battered leather jacket. Their laughter was intimate, and she touched his arm with a familiarity that stung. I knew immediately it was Jonah, the man she'd dismissed as unimportant. They were so engrossed they didn't see me. I stayed hidden, taking a few photos from a distance. I didn't storm over or make a scene. I just stood there watching my life unravel. Back at the hotel, Alice was lounging on the bed, scrolling through her phone as if nothing had happened. "Find any cool art?" I asked, my tone even. She gave me a bright, easy smile. "Amazing pieces. You'd have been miserable." I smiled back. That was when I began plotting my departure. That night, as she slept beside me, curling close as always, everything felt altered. I was done pretending. I lay awake, the weight of my discovery pressing on me. And by dawn, my resolve was firm. While Alice showered, I did something I wasn't proud of, but deemed essential. Picked up her phone. We'd always shared passcodes, a hallmark of our trusting bond. In under a minute, my fears were confirmed. There were countless messages from Jonah, some recent, others spanning months. "Counting down to seeing you. This time's real. Reserved your favorite place." Her replies twisted my gut. "Miss you so much. Can't wait." Michael has no idea. It wasn't a chance meeting. She'd planned the Portugal trip as a cover to rendezvous with Jonah. They thought I'd remain oblivious. I sent the entire conversation to myself, every incriminating word, then erased it from her phone, leaving no evidence. When she stepped out of the bathroom, towel wrapped, I was seated, her phone back on the nightstand. "You good?" she asked, her smile as polished as ever. "Yeah," I said, forcing a grin. "Thinking we should shake things up today. Something fun." Her eyes lit up. "Finally loosening up, huh?" I nodded, but inwardly I was already elsewhere. As she rambled about breakfast spots, I quietly booked a one-way flight home. I contacted the hotel, citing a family crisis that required us to leave early. Everything felt dreamlike, but I held it together. That night, as she slept, I packed light, passport, wallet, charger. Before leaving, I sat at the desk by the window, took a hotel notepad, and wrote, "Alice, I know it all. I saw everything. Enjoy Lisbon. You won't hear from me again, Michael." I placed it on her pillow and walked out without a backward glance. The flight to Chicago was quiet. I gazed out the window, feeling lighter with every mile. Before boarding, I blocked her number. No messages, no calls. Upon landing, my phone lit up with unknown numbers and desperate texts. I ignored them. I had tasks ahead. First, I drained our shared accounts, moving every cent to my personal one. Then I called a locksmith. The apartment was fortified before I unpacked. Next, I gathered her things, clothes, accessories, cosmetics, stacking the boxes outside the door. I locked up, sat in the silence, and let peace wash over me. 2 days later, Alice returned. I heard her knock, then the useless jingle of her keys, followed by banging when she realized they no longer worked. "Michael, let me in," she shouted, her voice breaking. I didn't move. Through the peephole, I saw her spot the boxes. She froze, hands shaking, then pounded harder, her cries growing frantic. I stayed hidden. Eventually, she left. The next day, Jason called. "What happened in Portugal?" he asked bluntly. "What's Alice saying?" I replied, staring out the window. "Said you had a huge fight and you ditched her. She's sobbing to Leah, posting cryptic stuff online. It's chaos." I nearly laughed. She'd left out the part where she crossed an ocean to deceive me. I sent Jason the screenshots, every one. A minute later, he texted, "Damn." The truth spread quickly. Leah, Jason, and others pulled away from Alice. Some reached out to apologize. Others simply faded from her life. I wasn't angry. I was drained. But Alice didn't stop. She posted vague captions about betrayal and heartbreak, texted me from new numbers, alternating between begging and spite. Then my boss called. "Just a heads up," he said. "HR got an anonymous email about you. Wild accusations. We're not taking it seriously, but you should know." I didn't need to wonder who sent it. That was her final blow. I wasn't going to let her ruin me just because I left. The next day, I met with a lawyer, laying out everything: the cheating, the harassment, the smear campaign. He listened carefully and proposed a solution: a cease and desist letter, direct and legally enforceable. By evening, it was delivered to Alice at her workplace. Plain envelope with no fuss. The letter was clear: "Stop contacting me. Stop spreading lies or face repercussions. 2 days of silence followed. Then one final text from an unknown number. Think you're smart? You're pathetic. Hope you're happy alone. I blocked it. That was the end. Friends later said she fell apart after the letter. Tried to craft a new story, but it crumbled. The truth was already out. I didn't seek revenge. I sought peace, and I found it by cutting her off entirely. Nearly a year has passed. I haven't seen Alice since. Rumor has it she moved in with Jonah. Tried to make it work, but it fell apart. Same drama, different partner. He kicked her out months later and she left the state, chasing a new beginning. I didn't care. I'd rebuilt my life. A simpler apartment, a closer-knit group of true friends. Weekends hiking or working on my motorcycle, breathing freely again. Looking back, leaving was the best decision I ever made. No yelling, no big confrontation, just the truth left where she couldn't ignore it. The pain fades when you stop trying to save those who feed on chaos. Sometimes I recall that morning in Lisbon, her laughing as if everything was flawless. It was all a lie. The real shift wasn't the trip. It was the moment I walked away and never looked.